G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Sir Eddie and his big bad Englishmen has come to town to try to conquer, invade Australia once again. Eddie Jones still holds a perfect record against the Wallabies, both against Michael Cheika and Dave Rennie have not been able to find a way to beat Eddie. Is this gonna be the weekend that Eddie Jones finally loses that perfect winning streak against Australia? We have to see. This is really interesting selections for both teams. A lot of new players been sprinkled into the sides for both teams, and I think in the end of the day, whoever comes out on top really may ultimately come down to the discipline from these newer players that's being placed into these sides. So yeah, let's start looking at some of these teams. So obviously, the Dave Rennie has announced the team, opting for quite a few newer players, debuting at hooker position. Dave Parecki, quite an interesting decision there, having that more experienced Falau Fainga Art on the bench. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. That's a little bit of interesting stuff going on for Dave Rennie. For England side, Owen Farrell has to return to the England team, but Colin Laws retains the captaincy. Eddie Jones has revealed that Owen Farrell's not really happy about that, but I'm sure he'll be alright. He's a professional rugby player. Owen Farrell has had an injury for quite a long time. He has returned to the English Premiership, and he has played really well. He took the Saracens once again to the finals. I think they lost the finals to the Leicester Tigers, but yeah, Owen Farrell instrumental in bringing his team to that final. So very excited to see him playing for England once again in that 12 jersey. Another thing that Eddie Jones did talk about is having Owen Farrell just really focusing on his game, taking that captaincy burden off his shoulders. It's something that a lot of people has asked for as well. Owen Farrell has been one of the players where he gets a bit emotional, and that may affect his play. When things comes to when the game gets a bit heated. So yeah, let's have a look at the lineup. So in the front rows for the Wallabies, Angus Bell, the best loose set prop in Australia, has the potential to be one of the best loose set props in the world. He's only 21 years of age, already has 16 caps and 121 kilos, 192 centimeters. He is absolutely sublime. In Super Rugby, he's very dominant. Last year, his work with he was actually able to do some really good work against the Springboks. Despite the Springboks, many consider to have one of the best scrums in the world. My hair is just all over the place. And then coming in at number 2 for the Wallabies, Dave Parecki. This is a really interesting selection for me. He's making a debut, and he is the hooker for the Waratahs. So yeah, I'm really surprised that they didn't just put Fainga here. Fainga was very solid for the Brumbies. Good line out set piece. Good, very solid overall. Not sure why he gets the shaft to the bench, especially both the locks for the Wallabies are Brumbies locks. So having a Waratahs hooker who's never really played with the Brumbies lock before. I am very concerned about this lineup here in the tie 5. So Alan Alatoa comes in number 3 at tight head position. Another Brumbies fella. Alan Alatoa has been quite steady for the Wallabies throughout the years. Really not much to complain about. So for the England side, the England forwards has been pretty good for Six Nations. It's one of the positive sides for the England team is the front rowers for the scrummaging. Sinclair has been injured on and off for England as well during the Six Nations. So Will Stewart did get quite a bit of game time for that Six Nations side, and he was actually quite decent from memory. Despite that, he was coming off the bench a lot, so I'm not too concerned about his performance at the tight head position for the England side. Ellis Genge has been extremely good for England as well. The England scrum has been pretty dominant. There was a game against Ireland where England was down to 14 players due to Charlie Hughes getting a red card, and they were able to still dominate the Irish scrum. Yeah, with the winger attached, Jack Noel attached to the blindside flanker position, and Courtney Laws stepping in at the locking position. Yeah, so technically Courtney Lawes is the best lock for England side, but he does get the number 6 jersey. Anyway, so that is Ellis Genge, Will Stewart. This will be a really interesting matchup for them in the front row. Jamie George has always been very, very good for England. Eddie Jones has been trying to phase him out for some reason, despite the fact that Jamie George is one of the best ball runners in the English forward pack. Yeah, so Jamie George, excellent, good lineouts, good set piece, and he brings that running game that the England side needs a little bit out of the forwards. So in the locking position, this is the biggest mismatch, I think, in this matchup. Darcy Swain, 10 test caps. He was on and off the bench for the Wallabies last year. He's up against Maori Toji, probably one of the best lineout workers in the world. And Maori Toji has been in the media quite a bit for England, as he does a lot of like sneaky stuff in the lineouts that disrupts the opposition. There was one game where against Wales where he kind of like tugged on one of the guys' jersey or something to prevent Adam Beard from jumping. Very sneaky stuff that he did, and basically resulted in an England try. And he does stuff like that a lot in the game, and little stuff like sometimes he gets penalized, sometimes he gets away with it. And yeah, he is very, very, very shrewd, cunning, and big boy with a lot of skills. And I feel like this is going to give the Wallabies lineout a lot of trouble, especially with a relatively new setup with players from two different teams trying to work together. Yeah, I'm very surprised. This could be a big mismatch for the match. And yeah, the Wallabies could completely lose the game just from the lineouts alone here, especially when England likes to play that kicking game. This is really concerning. And so coming in at number 5 for the Wallabies, Caden Neville, also debuting for the Wallabies, plays for the Brumbies, has a kind of pretty decent year for the Brumbies. Again, I just don't get it. Why did they not put Fainga'a at 2? You have both the Brumbies locks here. Why do you have the Waratahs hooker trying to, do something that, like Jamie George and Mario Toji has been playing for years together. Whilst the Wallabies lock and hookers 2 weeks, if that. I'm really baffled by this decision here. Not looking good. But anyway, number 5 for England, Johnny Hill gets that nod over Redcard Charlie Ewells. Comes in number 5. Rob Leota gets a number 6 jersey from the Melbourne Rebels for the Wallabies. Courtney Lawes, the best lock in the England side, actually gets that blindside flanker jersey. England really starting to do this a lot. A lot of the international team likes to do this. They like to put a big line out jumper, another lock in that blindside position to get more weight into the scrum. And also just get that more weight on that tight head side as well to try to force that dominance in the scrummaging. So Courtney Lawes does exactly that and being extremely good around the park for England's side. Number 7, this is the best player in the Wallabies team, Michael Hooper, the captain and just absolute workhorse. Hooper has developed a lot in last year or since he returned from Japan. He's really opened up his game quite a bit. His vision around the park is improving, so he's able to find himself in a lot of space and opportunity to set up himself and his teammates for those line break options, and as well as his work at the breakdown has always been exceptionally good. He's up against Tom Curry. Eddie Jones has been trying Tom Curry in different positions. Tom Curry was put on number 8 again in Six Nations. Eddie Jones felt like he plays more like an 8. Tom Curry is a very big boy. He could easily play number 8. Very, very sturdy, very mobile for how big he actually is. Obviously, Lions Test Tour, open side flanker, just an absolute big man. Number 7. So Tom Curry will have a really good matchup against Michael Hooper. Rob Valentini comes in number 8 for the Wallabies. He's the big ball runner for the Wallabies for the back line from the forward pack. Valentini has been really good for the Brumbies all year. I did feel like maybe his handling was a little bit rusty towards the end of the season for the Brumbies, but overall he's very, very good. Fills that role for the number 8 spot. Big hard running, big hard tackling, just physicality that it brings for the team. Very, very good to see. The England side has called back a big man to probably match Rob Valentini's size and, just match his size. Billy Vunipola gets called back into the England team. Billy hasn't played for the England since Six Nations in 2021, so it's almost a year and a half. Almost a year and a half since Billy Vunipola has played for England. He's the big boy, 130 kilos, 188 centimeters tall. And yeah, he's going to bring that size and mongrel that England likes in that number 8 spot. So Tom Curry, this is another reason he gets moved to 7. I guess Tom Curry wasn't big enough for Eddie Jones. He wanted something even bigger. Billy Vunipola, 130 kilos, comes in to fill that number 8 spot for the England side. Now the backline, this is a lot of fireworks packed into both teams in the backline. We'll have Nick White coming in at number 9. The Eddie Jones had talked about Nick White being kind of like individual player. Eddie obviously haven't watched too much Super Rugby. Nick White is not really like that loose cannon individualistic player anymore. He's more of a solid team player that makes the right decisions, feeds number 10 a lot of balls. So Eddie Jones was making these comments in the media about how Nick White wasn't probably, the style is clashing with Quade Cooper, which is just not true. He obviously haven't been watching too much rugby in Australia. So Nick White comes in number 9. I'm a little bit surprised by McDermott not being selected at all. McDermott is, his performance in the Reds has been like very individualized. Probably more, it would be an issue in terms of clashing with Quade Cooper because he really likes to make his own, take it upon himself to direct the ball around and run the ball at times. McDermott, maybe that is why he's not selected at number 9. I can understand why. A lot of the Reds play are shafted. The Reds did have a very scrappy finish to their season. Did not look good. Maybe that's why. But yeah, the Nick White gets number 9 jersey. The only issue with Nick White is he likes to be a bit of a argy-bargy. He likes a bit of being a bit of a see you next Tuesday around the field, wasting a bit of time holding the ball, that sort of stuff. I really don't like that. I think Nick you're a good enough player to just focus on the game. Just being a prick around the field takes, it's just, not really a good look for the team, to be really frank. I know what you're trying to do, but please, man, just don't do that. Just focus on playing the game. Like, nobody really want to see it as a fan. So the England side, Danny Keir comes back, 84 test caps. The 35 years old veteran, Ben Youngs, has opted out of this tour, so he's wanted to stay home and spend the summer in warm England and with his family. So Ben Youngs is not here because of his own decision. Number 10, Quade Cooper, we just mentioned, he's been playing in Japan. There's some talks that maybe he's going to America, but yeah, he's definitely having a good time of his life. Get called back into the Wallabies last year, beating the Springboks back to back. We have to see if that was a fluke or if he, kept on improving his game. This will be it to see. Quade at number 10, he was exceptionally good last year. Just accurate playmaking, especially at the start when he first came back against the Springboks. His performance did drop a little bit off as the season kind of progressed into the weeks. He did look like he wore on him a little bit, the schedule, but for a fresh start for Quade, I think he should be okay this game. He will look good. Marcus Smith, the future of England rugby at number 10, one of the most exciting prospect England side. His kicking game is really, really good. He has a lot of different kicking varieties, high balls, kick behind. In fact, England plays a lot of the game around Marcus Smith kicking game. Yeah, that just tells you what Eddie Jones has in mind. On top of the kicking game, Marcus Smith is also extremely good running the ball. The way he's able to draw the defense, manipulate the defense with the way he moves is, just the beauty to watch. Marcus Smith, Quade Cooper, apparently they had a bit of an Instagram or I guess, DM chat, apparently there was no, cucumbers been sent between the two guys, but there was a bit of exchange on experiences on how to deal with pressure. So we shall see how they actually line up against each other. In the number 11 jersey, this is two very exciting, hard-hitting players matching up. Marika Combedi comes back from Japan. He has been very good for Wallaby last year. I don't know what form he is in, so for him to get that 11 jersey, I thought was a big call. I really wanted to see potentially Vinavalu gets the 11 jersey, but Combedi gets the nod at 11. He's up against another guy. This guy was the absolute nightmare of Australian rugby in 2019. Joe Thokanasiga. I'm pretty sure I said his name correctly. Thokanasiga. He was just one of the matches played. He's like, his claim to fame is beating Australia, like, you know, running through Australians' defense like Australians were schoolboys. He was absolutely dominant. Last time he played against Australia, he ran through Halapeti, like just dropped him on his bum. He is absolute wrecking machine. But since then, in 2019, he has been injured on and off. Last time he played, he did look okay. He did play against the Barbarians, I think, but he's not really hasn't really captured that devastating form that he was in 2019 so far, but we shall see how he goes this weekend, if he can replicate that performance from a few years ago. But Joe Thokanasiga, I was super hyped about this guy. I really wanted to see him play again, and finally, so many years later, he's here. He's once again playing against Australia. So yeah, really excited here. Samuel Karevi, best number 12 in the world, comes back for Australia. There's been some talks, Karevi potentially signing with Australia once again with Western Force maybe. That'll be really good to have him back on the home soil. But yeah, Samuel Karevi absolutely dominated the Springboks backline, to be honest. Yeah, he's just consistency. He's able to crash through and make the line, breach the advantage line is just unparalleled. He really does remind me a lot of Maya Nonu and his abilities in breaking through the defensive line. Owen Farrell comes at number 12. Two completely different styles here. Owen Farrell is more of a kicking game style, second 5A, and he has been trying to develop that physicality sometimes, and he ends up putting high shots on people, being world infamous for doing that. So we shall see how he matches out physicality against Samuel Karevi. I think Samuel Karevi is going to give Owen quite a hard time here. This could be a big mismatch in the test match. England might have to put, like, you know, Billy Vunipola or someone at the 12 channel to help out Owen a little bit if Samuel Karevi is getting a bit out of hand. Let Ikitau comes in number 13. This 12-13 combo was really successful last year. Ikitau has an okay season for the Brumbies. I thought his performance for the Wallabies were a lot better. Ikitau also takes upon the kicking game from the outside center position for the Wallabies. So this is like an interesting setup. Karevi do not kick. He just runs hard and belts you, whilst Len Ikitau does open up that kicking option slightly out wide on the 13 channel. Interesting setup there. England, kind of the opposite. Joey Merchant has been absolutely spectacular for England ever since he's been called into the England side. He played winger, he played center, he played fullback. He's just one of those utility players that can play just about every position. And he's excellent at doing all of it. He's really good ball runner. He's able to fight. If given a bit of space, he will crash through. So Joey Merchant, I'm not sure about his kicking game. I don't think he kicks that much. He's definitely not needed with Owen Farrell and Marcus Smith inside of him. Coming number 14, Andrew Callaway gets another nod for the 14 jersey. I do think that this is probably, a big call for me. I do think that the Rebel season was not good to justify Callaway being selected at 14. But then again, last year Callaway also had a poor season with the Rebels, and then he just lit the Wallabies teams on fire ever since he joined the Wallaby side. So maybe he will do that again at number 14. He's up against the best actually open side flanker for the England side, Jack Noel. Yes, he's like the best open side flanker. Oh, actually, he's the best blind side flanker actually. When Courtney Laws moved into lock, they had Jack Noel at the blindside flanker against Ireland, and the scrummaging was the best England scrum like ever, right? So yeah, Jack Noel, really good winger, really good guy with space, a lot of physicality. Number 14, Jack Noel for England. And a fullback position, this is a really, really, really important role for both teams as well. with the kicking game involved. Tom Banks, extremely good on the high ball, really big boot. And really, the one thing that Tom Banks does really, really well is counter-attacking as well. So Tom Banks is like all-rounder. His kicking game, maybe accuracy needs to improve a little bit. He does have a big boot, but he needs to improve that accuracy, that consistency a little bit. But other than that, yeah, Tom Banks, he's definitely has an opportunity to get himself all the way up there as one of the best fullbacks in the world. Has the tools, he just needs to polish up his game. On the other side, Freddie Stewart, England's goalkeeper. He is the best guy under the high ball in England's side. He never drops the ball under the high ball, but his kicking game is a little bit lacking. So sometimes he tries to run the ball and he gets himself caught. So that is definitely a weakness that Australian can abuse. Freddie Stewart, pressure him and make him run the ball. He's not that comfortable with his kicking. So yeah, this is really, really, really big for England. Freddie Stewart has been, man of the matches many times, but he's definitely still got a long way to go to get there. Now, finally, let's have a look at the fullbacks. The reserves. Fainga'a comes in at the hooker position in reserves. I think he should be starting. This is really weird for me. Scott Seo, another Brumbies guy at 17. Jem Slipper at 18. The reserve front rowers rounds up. For the England side, Luke Cowan-Dickie gets a 16 jersey. He normally starts for England for the Six Nations. So this is a lot of experience coming off the bench for England side. Luke Cowan-Dickie. Marco Vinipola gets called back in the England side. So he has missed out, I think, Six Nations as well for England side. So he and his brother both gets called back to the England team. Brings that experience and brings that good scrummaging from Marco Vinipola. Joe Hayes gets called in at number 18 with only 2 test caps. A relatively newer player for the England side. Matt Phillip gets 19 jersey. I do think this is probably warranted. Matt Phillip has been really good last year for Wallabies. Not like really good, but has improved a lot with the Wallabies. And I really wanted to see the next step for his progression. Again, his season with the Rebels was a write-off. So I wanted to see him improve again this year. Just building on that, on the gains that he showed last year to take the next step forward. Ollie Chesham comes in for 19 for England. Only 2 test caps. P. Samu, many people think that he probably should be in the blindside position. A really, really good guy for the Brumbies. And yeah, just physicality. But him coming off the bench has been really good for the Wallabies. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of forward momentum, and a lot of hard physicality that belts the opponent. Really changes the tempo of the game when he comes off the bench. So I really like P. Samuel. Despite him being so good that he almost wanted to put him in the starting position, I do think that him coming off the bench is a much better option to finish off the game strong. Lewis Ludlam comes in for England at number 20. Jake Gordon gets the reserve number 9 position. Once again, no McDermott. Jake Gordon has a very solid season with Waratahs. Showed he has improved a lot, not just with his basic roles as a number 9, but he also improved quite a bit in running the ball and directing the traffic as well. Jack Van Poviet, I don't know how to say his name. Jack Van Poviet comes in at number 21, 0 tech cap, potentially debuting for England. Noah Lolesio for Australia comes in number 22. Jordan Patea gets the number 23 jersey for Australia. And for England side, 3 basically debutants on the bench for the backline. Guy Porter, Harry Undell are all very new additions to the England team. So let me know your thoughts about these selections. The thing about the England bench is Eddie Jones don't really use the bench that much, to be really frank. So it's one of the things, even during the Six Nations, even when Eddie Jones had very prominent props and locks on the bench, he really only uses them about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max in the second half. Less than 20 minutes, 15 minutes in the second half, because Eddie Jones really likes that cohesion for his starting 15. And so with a lot of these guys on the bench with 0 caps, 2 caps, they probably only going to get 5 minutes in the end of the match when all the hard work has been done. That's basically how Eddie operates the England side nowadays. So I'm not too worried about these guys coming onto the field and losing the game for England because they're not going to get that much game time, to be really frank. Anyway, that is the game. That is the lineup. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate you being here. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Yeah, so very excited. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys for the reviews. And have a good day. Cheers.